Welcome to John Essex Sports Channel, and it's League One Week 25 predictions time with Bolton versus Northampton first. Bolton in 6th, Northampton in 19th. Both of these sides have faltered of late, but Northampton, for me, have been faltering for quite a while. Just the odd game that you didn't really expect them to lose, they'd lose, and the odd game that you expected them to lose, they sometimes did really well against them, and sometimes not. So it's been a little bit more up and down for Northampton than Bolton. So it's a little bit hard to work out which side's going to turn out for Northampton, isn't it? For Bolton, it's win, lose, draw. Last time out, it was the strange one. Doncaster won, Bolton won, and realistically, Doncaster just about had the edge here. In fact, their defence made it quite clear that Bolton weren't going to get a really good shot on goal during that game. One shot on target for Bolton in the entire game out of their 14-15 shots. So Doncaster did a really good job of allowing Bolton into that final third, but they didn't get a clear shot, which is quite interesting because they're playing the Northampton side. Draw, lose, win, lose, draw. But that last game, guys, was Northampton 0, Stockport County 0. And people were thinking here that, well, Stockport surely will have the run of the green. Well, although Northampton's football and their passing and their possession wasn't very great, pretty poor in fact, they actually had the better of this game, to be quite honest. When they had the ball, they did more with it, and that was probably a sign that they could have won this one. Northampton fans will be the ones coming home thinking, yeah, we could have won this one. Bolton, Northampton, what are you lot thinking? 2-0, 2-0, 2-0 and 1-0. Not really giving me much choice because obviously I try and go with your predictions. I'm going to have to go with Bolton 2, Northampton 0. And that last performance by Northampton where they should have won it, and I'm thinking, should have is just not close enough, is it? So we'll go next with Lincoln in 2nd versus Peterborough in 11th. And Lincoln City have been around there for so long, haven't they? They keep contacting me saying, are we going to stay up there this year? Are we going to stay up there this year? But they're playing a Peterborough side. Look where they are, 11th now from bottom of the league. They have been motoring. Look at this. Lincoln City, win, draw, win, draw. Last time out, a Huddersfield draw, 1-1. Lincoln City won, Huddersfield won. Both of these games, these goals, 69 minutes for Lincoln, 61 minutes for Huddersfield. So a 10-minute spell where everything just went haywire, didn't it? Lincoln, though, really will be kicking themselves. 18 shots and 4 on target, 1 in the net for Lincoln, and Huddersfield 6 shots, 3 on target and 1 in the net. Lincoln again, just didn't take the chances that they should have took. Huddersfield, they certainly had a better performance stats wise in front of the net. 3 on target, 1 in the net. They have been quite clinical in front of goal. Let's see how they'll be doing this week later on. It's Lincoln versus Peterborough. Peterborough then were win, draw, win, and the only game they haven't won in the last 6 was Reading, and that was a 1-1 home draw. Very surprising, but then they came to Rotherham and absolutely, it was Rotherham 0, Peterborough 2, but realistically, this should have been about a 4 or 5-0 trouncing. 20 shots from their 64% possession, Peterborough, 7 of them on target, and they were all quite clear open chances for me, and only 2 in the net. They would have been thinking, why didn't we get up to 4 or 5? And that's a Rotherham fan speaking. So Lincoln versus Peterborough. Are Lincoln playing Peterborough at the wrong time? are Peterborough playing Lincoln at the wrong time? What are you thinking? Lincoln, Peterborough, 2-1, 1-2, 2-1 and 1-0. I'm just looking at the teams that they were playing. Lincoln's wins were against Barnsley, Cardiff, Stockport and Barnsley again. All very difficult teams to play. Huddersfield draw, of course, and a Blackpool draw, and they've been playing some really good football. So they've actually played some good teams. If you look at Peterborough, Reading, Northampton, Port Vale, Leyton Orient, Reading draw, and a poor Rotherham team. So I think that the teams that they've been playing, whether we like it or not, are poorer than the Lincoln side's games. I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go with Lincoln City 2, Peterborough 1, and we'll go to Blackpool versus Bradford. Blackpool in 17th, but they really have changed for me. They've improved. Bradford in 3rd, and for me, Bradford are just starting to show a little bit of easing off. Not quite doing as well in games. Even the winning ones, we'll see in a minute. They don't seem to be winning by as many as you're thinking they should be doing against that class of side. Blackpool then in 17th. Win, draw, win, and a defeat there last time out. A strange one, wasn't it? 4-0 win against Rotherham. Backing up their 3-0 win against Rotherham just a few games before that. 7 goals they scored against us in 2 games. And then they suddenly go away to Port Vale, and it's Port Vale 5, 10-man Blackpool 1. And it's just didn't seem the game for them, didn't it? 2 shots at target for Blackpool, 1 on target, 1 in the net. And they have been that clinical in front of goal, but they just didn't have enough of them, did they? 17 shots for Port Vale, 6 of them on target, 5 in the net. Where did this side come from? You could just think they got rid of their manager and they come out with a performance like that. That is just phenomenal, isn't it? Have Bradford played the wrong team at the wrong time? Because because Blackpool are going to want to bounce back from that, aren't they? They really are. They've been playing so well. Then Blackpool play the wrong team at the wrong time. They're going to be wanting to bounce back against this Bradford side. Win, lose, win, lose. And last time out, Bradford played Mansfield. Mansfield 3, Bradford 0. I said it was going to be a Mansfield win. In fact, I think I might have even said 3-0. I might have got the score right there. And one of the Bradford fans says, no, you got it the wrong way around. It's going to be a Bradford win easily here. Sorry, I can see where you're coming from, but the Mansfield side were certainly on fire here. And I think the Mansfield side did actually deserve this win on the whole. They've been playing some good football and they've been scoring quite a few goals, and they've been this boring football that they keep playing every so often earlier on in the season just seemed to have gone out the window. So we do, let's be honest, Bradford just happened to come across Mansfield at the wrong time. So both teams lost their last game, probably because the opposition have just started to play some good football just as they play them. Great, isn't it? Blackpool, Bradford then, what are you thinking? 1-3, 1-2, 3-0 and 1-0. Nobody's saying a draw. I don't think it will be a draw. It probably would have been a very good get out of jail free card for me. But you're not giving me the option. You're trying to make me go one way or the other. I'm going to go with Blackpool 1, Bradford 2. This time, I think that I'm just a little bit worried about the scale of that Port Vale defeat for Blackpool, and the red card. Everybody's head will be sort of a little bit less confident, I think, just a little. And if you're at home, you need every player absolutely on tip-top condition, don't you? So let's go to the next game then. The next game after Blackpool is Cardiff versus Wigan. Now, actually, this is a little bit more interesting than you think. It's Cardiff in first, Wigan in 14th, guys, and Cardiff win, lose, lose, win, win, draw, and the last 3 games: Exeter win 1-0, Stevenage win 2-1, and a Wycombe draw. Wycombe 1, Cardiff 1. Cardiff scoring in 6 minutes, Wycombe in 30, and then it just seemed to die into a game of Wycombe Cardiff are just going to take control of this game, and Cardiff are going to try and make as many shots as they can. And actually, a lot of them were on target. 17 shots for Cardiff, 6 of them on target and only 1 in the net. They would have been bitterly disappointed. They can play some clinical football up front. I would have expected more than 1 out of 6 to be in the net. Wycombe, though, 9 shots from their 34%, 2%, 2 of them on target, 1 in the net. You know, they'll probably be thinking that was a good job to come away with a draw there. They came away with something that they probably didn't expect. Wigan, though, they have actually been tightening up that back end. These players are starting to click for me now, just about. Draw, draw, lose, lose, win, draw. Last time out, it was a game I couldn't really tell which way round this was going to go. Wigan 1, Barnsley 1, and this 10-man Barnsley on 84 minutes. I'm not really bothered about that. We get 14 shots for Wigan, 4 of them on target, 1 in the net. Okay, it's good for a bottom third side, which is where they are, of course, in 14th. Barnsley, though, you know, we would expect more. They were doing well, and then they've sort of dropped. They've dropped down the table, Barnsley, and they're. I would have expected more from them, and with 61% possession, only 8 shots, 3 of them on target, 1 in the net. They didn't seem to ever get a good opportunity. Huge amount of passing from them, huge, but they just passed it around in their own half. At least they did get across that halfway line a few times, but just not enough for me. Great possession football, guys. Got you a 1-1 draw against a team I think you should have been winning. So Wigan came away with there thinking, we got a point. Actually, we're probably good to get a point there. So you can see the likeness there of the last 2 games, 1 each for the Cardiff team and the Wigan team. What are you thinking, Cardiff-Wigan then? Because this is going to be a little bit more even, I think, than some of you are thinking. 2-1, 3-1, 2-0 and 3-1. You're thinking that it's going to be a Cardiff win. The thing is, will Wigan score? I think they will. I think it's going to be Cardiff 3, Wigan 1. No, I'm going to change it. I'm going to go Cardiff 2, Wigan 1. I think it's going to be closer than that. I think it's going to be a 2-1 win to Cardiff there. You see, I do think of it as I'm going through it. Absolutely. Doncaster 23rd and Luton in 8th next. And Doncaster were doing so well at the beginning, weren't they? And in the last 6, they've gone lose, 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 draw. They drew. Doncaster 1, Bolton 1 against a Bolton team that have been extremely clinical up front. And we've already had a look at this. Bolton really should have done more with the ball here. They had good possession football, but their passing wasn't bad at all. It wasn't brilliant, but it wasn't bad. But taking him on the break didn't seem to quite work, and Doncaster's defence just stopped Bolton from getting any more than 1 shot on target. So that Doncaster side did extremely well in defence, and we're playing a Luton side that we know if you put every man behind the ball and stop them from getting in that final third, they can get flustered very, very easily. This Luton side then, draw, lose, win, lose. There are 2 wins there, Wycombe Wanderers and Leyton Orient. So not difficult sides if you set up the team correctly. Last time out, though, it was a defeat. Exeter 1, Luton nil. Did we see this coming? Well, Exeter have been playing a little bit better now and again. But get this, Luton, 62% possession, 7 shots, none on target, and of course none in the net. Exeter though, 16 shots, 5 of them on target, 1 in the net. You know, this team, I mean, it sounds about right, 1-0. Actually, if you look at the game, I think Exeter could easily have won this one by more than that. 2-0 probably would have been a reasonable score for this game. So Luton Town have just been up and down. Remember, the 2 games before that, remember, lost to Exeter. The 2 games before that, a 3-0 win against Orient and a 4-0 win against Wycombe Wanderers, both at home though. So that's interesting, isn't it? The last 2 games away, Reading 3-2 defeat away and an Exeter 1-0 defeat away. I think this Luton side hasn't been of late travelling very well. So Doncaster versus Luton is going to be interesting. I think this is going to be one of those games where you could see a lot of goals. Now, I am not going to go with any of you. What are you lot saying for Doncaster Luton? 1-2, 0-1, 1-2 and 1-1. I do think that Luton will win it. But I think that defence can be a little bit ropey of Luton's, but so can Doncaster's. So if we're going to have a team like this, I'm going to go with my own score of Doncaster 2, Luton 3. So let's see if that one comes out. It's the only one I've actually chosen of my own, as we go to Huddersfield in 5th and Exeter in 15th. Of course, we've just been talking about Exeter. Huddersfield in 5th then. And they've drawn, win, drawn. So they've not been losing games, absolutely not. And at first they were just losing the odd one where you're thinking, shouldn't have done that. Why aren't they scoring? And now they've started to score. Lincoln City 1, Huddersfield 1. Huddersfield scored first, and to be quite honest, it was a game of what first one side would be on top, then the other side, and it was a nice free flowing game where one side would attack more than the other side. It was a good game. I enjoyed it. About even as far as the passing was concerned and the possession football was concerned. They got into each other's box nicely. Huddersfield 18 shots, yeah, that's about right. 4 on target, 1 in the net. Pretty good football, wasn't it? 6 on target, 6 shots for Huddersfield, 3 on target, 1 in the net. So it was probably a 1-1 draw, but it was a game that you'd probably, on shots, 18 shots for Lincoln, 6 for Huddersfield, would have expected Lincoln to have got more goals, or at least more shots on target. However, they've been doing that, haven't they? And Huddersfield haven't. Huddersfield have been made a little bit more clinical with their shots and a little bit more accurate. Exeter, though, and you can see how they've changed here. Win, lose, win, lose, win, win. The 2 defeats, Bolton 2-1 away and Cardiff 1-0 away. Now, that was critical for me. Cardiff 1-0 was a damn good performance from Exeter. The last game was an even better performance for me. Exeter won on 50 minutes through Pierce Sweeney, and Luton 0. And Luton had 0 shots on target, like I said. 16 shots to Exeter, 5 on target, 1 in the net. Like I said, 2-0 would probably have been about right for this game for Exeter. So they have been doing some good football, haven't they? So they've been getting some really good surprise wins, and they've been getting some good. Well, I would say you can't have a good defeat, can you? But you can. Losing to Cardiff 1-0 away is actually pretty damn good. So Huddersfield Exeter, it's going to be really difficult. I think it's going to be tight. I don't think there's going to be many goals. It's the last one to have a lot of goals was Huddersfield 3 games ago. Port Vale 5-0 home win. It is at home. They can score at home. I've got a feeling this is either going to be like a 1-0 to Huddersfield or a 5-0 to Huddersfield. I'm going to go with you because you've got Huddersfield Exeter 1-0, 3-0, 0-0, 2-1. It's going to be one of those first two, I think, if I choose one. I'm going to go Huddersfield 1, Exeter 0. Watch it be the 5-0. Watch it. Just watch that one. Plymouth versus Burton next. And Plymouth did show signs of getting better, didn't they? Plymouth in 21st, Burton in 20th. Burton have improved. They really have. They have got better just a little bit each game. Plymouth did get better in chunks, big chunks. And then they seem to have just got a bit of fatigue, and of course at this point in the season you're getting players missing quite regularly in all of the teams, so none of the teams can say they've got it worse than any other. So Plymouth then win, and they're thinking they're gonna rocket up the table. Lose, draw, lost 4-1 against Reading, draw against Wycombe 1-1, and then the last one away Stevenage 1, Plymouth 1. And for me, everything in this game was in the second half. Really was. There was nothing for me in that first half. I actually thought it might be a dull 0-0. And then also in the second half, we got both sides having a little bit of a pop-up goal. Wasn't a great game, pretty boring, not great passing, not great possession. This was, you wouldn't have thought that Stevenage were where they are. This was a bottom third game. This one, Stevenage 1, Plymouth 1. 0-0 would have probably been a good point for that. Burton then win, draw, win, lose. But those two defeats against Wigan 2-0 at home and Reading 2-0 away, and Burton just seemed to have slipped up twice there. And it's not what they've been doing. They've been getting a little bit of consistency of late, and then all of a sudden they play not top teams, not bottom teams, but they've slipped up against both of them, and with the same score, 2-0. So Reading then, Reading 2, Burton 0, and realistically Reading should have probably won this one by 3 or 4-0. Only 2 shots on target for Burton, none in the net. 4 shots on target for Reading, 2 in the net, and they have been doing that sort of thing again for the last few games, haven't they? So you can see where I'm coming from. This game's actually going to be quite interesting. Plymouth versus Burton. Will Burton get a little bit more consistency in this game, or will they lose 3 in a row? Will Plymouth's woes after that good run continue, or will they go back to winning ways? It's going to be hard. You've gone all directions here. You really aren't giving me much choice, are you? Plymouth versus Burton, 3-1, 1-2, 1-1 and 1-2. I'm going to go for the majority. I'm afraid I'm going to go with Plymouth 1, Burton 2, because that's the majority of you guys that have come on and given me a comment. Do give me a comment, do give me a like and a subscribe. It does help the channel to keep survival, and that's what we're trying to do here at John Esses Sports, just survive. We had a bit of a glitch when people started disliking and saying they wanted to make money out of YouTube. It did harm the channel. We did get less advertising from YouTube pushing it out to you guys. Do give me a like, do give me a subscribe, it does help. As we go to Port Vale versus Barnsley. Port Vale in 24th, Barnsley in 16th, and of course we all know that Port Vale got rid of their manager. And what happened? Port Vale win, draw, and we thought that he might get out of jail free card here, but he didn't. Win, draw, lose, get rid of him, and then a win last time out, 5-1 at home to Blackpool of all teams, a team that has been doing well and scoring as well. Okay, at home they prefer, but they do score away from home as well, as Rotherham found out. Port Vale 5, Blackpool 1, but Port Vale just ran it. Port Vale just ran this game. Did they deserve to win it? Absolutely. Some good football, and they showed that actually that look they've had some really good skill. They had some good skill in 40 minutes of the Rotherham game in the first game. But where did the rest of the game go? You know, where did the other 50 minutes go? Who knows? They don't. They just seem to disappear. And in this game, they were constantly good. They deserved the win. Whether they deserved a 5-1 win, I don't know. But I think it was a bit of a collapse as well on Blackpool's part. And of course, I think there was a red card in it as well. It's not showing me there was a red card on 45 plus 1 for Blackpool. This is a game where Blackpool got one shot on target in the entire game and only 2 shots in at target in the entire game. This Port Vale side was on fire. Barnsley next. Lose, win, lose, draw. You've got to look at those defeats. Exeter, Mansfield, Lincoln. The only decent side in there is the Lincoln side. The other sides have been pretty poor at the point when they played them. They lost to a Mansfield side that were pretty dull at that point. 3 games ago, they weren't playing such great football. And then that game, that Mansfield win against Barnsley, just seems where Mansfield suddenly started playing really well. Was it this game in particular? Possibly they did play them at the wrong time. So Barnsley will give you that one. Mansfield defeat 3-2. Lincoln City defeat 2-0. Wigan draw though 1-1. Wigan won. Barnsley won. Luca Connell getting an 84th minute red card. I don't think it make any difference to the game whatsoever. It might to the game we're going to play now. But we've got look. This was actually quite even. Barnsley kept past the ball extremely well in their own half, and they did come forward. They did get across that halfway line, but the Wigan team just really weren't going to let them. They're gelling. They didn't let them get past sort of 2/3 of that pitch. So Wigan did play some good football in defence. They just couldn't make enough, Wigan, of those 14 shots. Only 4 of them on target and 1 in the net. They would have been feeling a bit sorry for themselves, Wigan, on this one. And that would have made a Barnsley 4 defeats in a row. So Port Vale versus Barnsley. Port Vale now, showing that they can rock it when they want to. And Barnsley, who are thinking, when is our luck going to change? Well, we know that as a Rotherham fans. So Port Vale versus Barnsley, what are you thinking? 2-2, 1-1, 2-1, 2-1. A draw or Port Vale? You know something? I'm going to go with the Vale. I'm going to go Port Vale 2, Barnsley 1. And we go to Reading versus Stockport next. And Reading in 10th, Stockport in 4th. Reading have just started to get a little bit better, and they've started to nibble up that table. And it's almost like somebody said to me last year with the Championship, they're going up unnoticed. People aren't noticing them because they are losing points along the way, but they're losing them, and people are thinking, oh yeah, they've lost a couple of points, but here they are creeping up, and that's so level, that league. That they are really, really good. Let's have a look at that. In fact, Reading in 10th on 32 points, and they're just seven points away from Stockport in 4th on 39 points. So they're not a great deal away from those top 6. In fact, so what did Reading do? Lose, win. Draw, win. Last time out, 2-0 win against Reading. Reading 2, Burton 0. They do tend to play well at home. They have seen that, and 19 shots and 4 on target. They would have been disappointed in that. They were just firing willy-nilly. 7 off target, 7 blocked, and 4 on target, basically, and 2 in the net. But to in their defence, their defence was Reading's defence was really good against a side that's been improving steadily. I thought Burton might put up a bit of a fight here, but only 2 shots on target for Burton. Their Reading side, while they were doing well in attack, getting lots of shots off, were certainly defending quite well. So it wasn't just a one-shot shop up front. It was actually all the way across. They'd improved in this game all the way across the pitch. Stockport County then win, lose, win, draw. Very up and down this Stockport County side. One minute they're playing brilliantly, 1 minute they're playing garbage. Northampton 0, Stockport 0. At least it's not always garbage like my team. And it was a pretty boring game, to be quite honest. I found Northampton played a good home game, but they like to kill the game off. They killed the game off, and Stockport just couldn't get to grips with this style of play that Northampton decided to go with. It was poor passing, poor control, poor everything. Yeah, they got 11 shots, Northampton, and 5 of them were on target, but none of them went in the net. Stockport County, just 5 shots at target, 1 on target and none in the net. They just couldn't get to grips with the way that Northampton were dragging them down to Northampton's level. They would have been bitterly disappointed they didn't get a grip of this game by the round spherical objects and drive it forward. Bitterly disappointed. But Reading versus Stockport, then what are you thinking? 2-1, 2-0, 1-1 and 1-0. Some thinking Stockport can get their act together here and nick a draw. But on the whole, I think that most of you are thinking it's going to be a Reading win. I think you're right. I'm going to go Reading 2, Stockport 0. Oh dear, here we go. For Rotherham fans, I'm a Rotherham fan. Here we go. Rotherham versus Mansfield. Rotherham in 22nd and dropping like a stone against Mansfield in 9th and rising like a hot air balloon. What are we thinking then? We've got Rotherham lose 6 defeats in a row. The manager says his job is up for grabs now, and I'd probably quite honestly agree with him. He's got to prove it and get a team out of a losing run. He hasn't done that yet. This is his opportunity, because if he doesn't do it, he can't do it, and he'll have to go, because managers have to be able to drag their team out of a 6-7 game defeated run, because if they don't do it, then they're never going to be able to do it, are they? They've got to cycle. They've got to have the ability to psych up that team. Has he got that ability? Well, 3-0 defeat, 1-0 defeat, 3-1 defeat, 2-1 defeat, 4-0 defeat against Blackpool, and last time out a 2-0 defeat against Peterborough. But I tell you what, this should have been at least 4-0 to Peterborough. They would have been kicking themselves almost 2/3 of the game possession-wise. 20 shots for Peterborough, 7 of them on target, and only 2 in the net. They've been really good up front, and they'd have been kicking themselves they didn't win this one at least 4-0. Let's go to Mansfield, because they've been playing some good football. Then they start playing dull, boring football. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. And of late, they've played some really good football. Lose, draw, lose. Then what happened? Win. Barnsley 3-2 win. Bolton 1-0 win. And then Bradford a 3-0 win. These are all teams that they would have been dreading 6 games ago, but they've won every single one of them. Mansfield 3, Bradford 0. And I got told off by 1 or 2 Bradford fans thinking I'd got it the wrong way around. I didn't. I can't believe it. I didn't. I did think that their run would continue, and it did. And to be honest, Bradford did get into Mansfield's half. They just 11 shots for Bradford, just 2 on target and none in the net. And this, more than half of the shots that Bradford had were blocked. So it was a fault of Bradford's for not scoring, not of Mansfield's amazing defence. They just put people behind the ball, and Bradford just wellied it against the defender or against the bar. Mansfield, it wasn't their defence that was good. It was Bradford's. It was Bradford's attack that was pretty awful. Mansfield then 15 shots, more shots of course, 8 on target, 3 in the net. Where's the goals come from when they lost their main scorer last year, who's now their striker coach? People are thinking with him gone, where's the goals going to come? Well, they have started to get them. So 3 wins in a row for Mansfield, 6 defeats in a row for Rotherham. What are you thinking, Rotherham, Mansfield? You really aren't giving me any choice here. Rotherham, Mansfield, your predictions, remember? 0-2, 0-2, 0-2, 0-2. I was going to say Rotherham 0, Mansfield 3. You haven't given me that option. I'm going to go with you, just for the hell of it. I'm going to say Rotherham 3-0 defeat, but hey, Rotherham 0, Mansfield 2. I've gone with you lot. Stevenage in 7th versus Orient in 18th. And we've got 2 teams here that seem to be stuck where they are, aren't they? Orient, for me, are the ones that are slightly on a downturn. Stevenage pretty much levelled out now. Their form has been consistent for quite a while, hasn't it? Stevenage lose, win, draw, lose, draw. It really is. It's getting points, keeping them where they are. They're certainly not going to be dropping, I don't think. Stevenage 1, Plymouth 1. And I thought Stevenage would win this one just about, and they should have done. Realistically, they should have done. I think they were just better on passing. They were just better on keeping the ball. They were just better on class and style, which is strange because Plymouth have a slightly better, classier squad, and yet it was Stevenage playing the classier football for me. A couple of more shots at target, one or two more shots on target. I would have expected Stevenage to win this one 2-1. Plymouth would have been quite happy that they got that equaliser on 68 minutes and probably thought, hell, we'll agree with that one. Leyton Orient though, draw, lose, win, lose, lose, lose. They're 3 defeats though. 1-0 away to Peterborough, who have really improved, haven't they? 3-0 away defeat to Luton Town. They really, really have improved. And Wimbledon 3-1 defeat at home. And they haven't. They've actually started to play a little bit worse, if anything, for me. And you're starting to see an up and down from Wimbledon. So Orient really should have won this one, or at least got a draw. Last time out then, Orient 1, Wimbledon 3, and we're all thinking this should be an Orient win, shouldn't it? Wimbledon have been playing well, but they've been up and down. Wimbledon have been up and down, and some games you expect them to win, they do. And then some games they've been playing dull. But in this game, actually, they I might have got it wrong in what I've just said. Orient 1, Wimbledon 3. It probably should have been a draw, this one, to be quite honest. It was quite... I found that the football was slightly better by Orient. The style and the class of football, the passing was slightly better by Orient. But then Wimbledon weren't afraid to get into Orient's half. And that's how they won it, by taking them on the break and getting those goals by surprising them. They certainly weren't passing it through. They were playing it through instead of passing it through. So, Orient lose, last 3 defeats. Peterborough, Luton and Wimbledon. Like I said, the Peterborough and the Luton sides were doing really well. But that Wimbledon side hasn't been, for me, playing that well. They lost against them 3-1. So Orient will be thinking, is this signs of a bit of a slump? They're already slumped down to 18th. It's pretty level, this league, isn't it? Stevenage versus Orient then. 2-1, 2-1, 1-1, 1-2. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I think that with no wins in the last 3 for either of these teams, I'm going to sit on the fence. Stevenage 1, Orient 1 as we go to Wickham in 13th, Wimbledon in 12th. And you can see they've dropped to 12th. They were doing so well. They'd gone right up there. And they were saying, we can get up and stay in that top 6. Then they started to lose those points. Wickham, lose, draw, win, lose, draw, draw. Their win was against Bolton. That was out of probably one that I expected to be a draw. 4-0 defeat against Luton. 1-1 draw away to Plymouth. And last time out, a really good Wickham 1, Cardiff 1, with Wickham and Cardiff going at it in the first half. And then in the second half, it sort of, Cardiff seemed to just disappear a little bit, and Wickham started piling on the pressure. Wickham will be gutted they didn't win this one 2-1, 3-1, but they didn't. And Wickham, it's just the way that football's been going for them. They should have got a lot more points out of those last 6, absolutely. But so should Wimbledon. Lose, draw, lose, win. Last time out, it was that game. Orient 1, Wimbledon 3, and they. It was probably a 1-1 draw. This one, But 5 shots on target. Give them their dues. Wimbledon 5 shots on target, 3 in the net. You have to give them the dues for that. That was good, and they have done 1 or 2 games where they've had very few shots on target, but most of them have gone in the net. So we're looking at Wickham versus Wimbledon. Both of these teams need to drag themselves back into this league. 13th position and 12th position. What are you saying? You're not saying many goals, are you? Wickham, Wimbledon, 1-0, 0-0, 2-0 and 2-0. I am again going to agree with one of you. I'm going to go with a bore draw. Wickham 0, Wimbledon 0. Please do like and subscribe. Keep me going, guys. And I'll see you in the next prediction video. Remember, join us at Sports Channel. Like and subscribe.